Pectic and Schaefer. Now it is my honor to introduce the Long Beach Person of the Year, Scott Bocner. And Scott, I understand when you found out about this, you were on vacation and you basically did not see this in the Herald. You got bombarded with emails.
Yeah, I wasn't around, but it is really a nice, it's a nice honor. It's a nice thing. It just keeps the subject in, and it was really nice of the Herald to do that. I guess, it's, man, yeah, well, it was all about the, the sewage spill in Reynolds, which they did clean up, and now we're just working on a few other items that we need to take care of. The spill bill, of course, which is stuck in legislation, and hopefully it'll get on the calendar. And now we're working on finding out what Ed Mangano's plan is for selling or leasing the sewer treatment plants, and how that's going to affect not only our pocketbooks but the environment, and see the companies that they're leaning towards, and how that's going to go. But I do appreciate this honor, and it was a really good thing.
And very well written by my friend Chris Engelhardt, who does a great job from Long Beach Herald. But Scott, for some people who might not have read the article, let's go back to the very beginning, how you discovered this happening. And I believe that the odors were the first thing that came to your attention to talk about. Let's go back to the very beginning, how you noticed that there was a problem going on and what you personally did about it.
Well, it seems like it was a really long time ago, but it was about a year and a half ago. I look at the bay all the time. I live in the area there, and I just noticed that there was a brown plume that was going into the water, and every day it would happen, and I would wonder what it was. I went to my neighbors and spoke to them. I went to a few people around town, and they told me it was red tide or something, and as it turned out, it was not. It was actually this Bay Park sewer treatment plant that was in really bad disrepair, and they were putting untreated sewage into the waterways. And from that point on, I just became passionate about it, like you said, and kept digging and prying and getting other environmental groups like Operation Splash and Citizens Campaign for the Environment, and going down to the legislative, and what we found out that it was really bad what they were doing, and making DEC reports, making EPA reports, and eventually making a YouTube of it, putting it up, and then spreading that out. It went viral, and from there on, the people got involved, put up a few petitions, and everybody was really, the whole community took charge in this, and it was a real good thing.
Scott, talk about how Sludge Stoppers was formed, because I remember you back on the show several months ago that a group called Sludge Stoppers that you were, basically the head of. Talk about how that was all formed and some of the people that were involved with Sludge Stoppers with you.
When this was taking place, Rob Weltner, who's from Operation Splash, and then Jerry Ivino from the Point Lookout Civic Association, and then we had Claudia Borowski from the North Merrick Association, and we all got together and said, look, we need to create some kind of a watchdog committee that would help in situations like this and whatever's going on in the environment. So we created the Sludge Stoppers Task Force, and anyone can come to these meetings. We have it the third Monday of every month, and it's at the Senior Center on Magnolia Boulevard, and we go over the topics and things that we need to do to, it's just a never-ending battle to try to continue to have these plants upgraded and brought to where they need to be, that it's not polluting our waters. And then, and like I said, our new focus is on these companies that the county is looking at to purchase or lease these plants. All three of them are foreign companies. They're from France or England, and some of their track records are really not that great. So we'll be going out towards the people to see and let everybody know the facts about this. It's not just money, it's the environment.
Absolutely, Scott. And talk about your passion for the environment, because I'm sure that before all this happened, you had to have a passion for the environment, and it had to be something that you cared about. So talk about your passion for the environment, even before this whole thing developed.
Well, to be honest with you, Howie, I was just a regular person that would just go and fish and go in the water. I surf all the time, and I was no different than anybody else. I wasn't an activist. I wasn't passionate. I mean, I wouldn't throw paper on the ground. If I saw somebody throw a can, I'd say, hey, that's not right, pick it up. But I wasn't this person that would just go out and try to change the course of things. But when nothing was getting done about this particular issue or things to that nature, I just kept getting angry that for days, 35 million gallons of this stuff would go into the water, and no one was doing anything about it. And then one day led to another, and I just couldn't believe I was living in America and this could go on. But thank God, I just kept screaming and yelling and putting up videos, and then the county was pretty much embarrassed to fix it. So I'm no different than anyone else out there.
Scott, the one thing that really struck me is that this really was a very frustrating process for you, because the local officials you initially contacted, you got nowhere with. So talk about that, the fact that you brought this horrible problem to the local officials' attention and you got nowhere, and you really had to dig and work hard and contact other people to really get results. So talk about this whole process, about how you met resistance and how this was really a problem.
Well, it's you go to your local officials first, and and basically, I spoke to them, and what they had said was, no, it's not our problem, it's the county's problem, it's our own BP, and actually, like the BP oil spill, but it really was the Bay Park spill. And then once, I got through that a little bit, I found that we had to get to the county, so I contacted Denise Ford, and she was very helpful with it. And then Legislative Denenberg, who was on the environmental committee, and he really took charge and said, let's have a press conference, and the press conference got a lot of play and footage, and that was really the turning point, because no one could believe that this could be going on. And then once that led to people looking at the video and then seeing what was happening, things just continued to go. And what we found out, that the Bay Park plant was just in really bad shape. There were only 2 tanks out of 15 tanks that had suspended solids in it, which is basically poop, that was working out of all of those tanks. And what we needed to do was get these rented thickeners, sludge thickeners, that would take the process and make it happen. And with the DEC and the EPA recommendations, and then we were able to get the money from Chuck Schumer. That was EPA money that we were supposed to get. That was $7 or $8 million. And then they had after going down and speaking with them, they released $30 million to start upgrading the plant. And then once that happened, Sheila Shaw, the commissioner, came out and spoke to us, and we spoke to her many times. And the plant is now, putting out the effluent in the proper grade and what it's supposed to be.
Scott, I know you were away, but along with Walter, I attended the swearing-in ceremony of the new the Democrats that got sworn in. And when Len Torres got up to speak, in his speech, when he was being sworn in, he actually mentioned that he mentioned Scott Bocner being a hero, and that because of your efforts, so many great things, what you did affected so many people, and he said that, Scott Bocner is a hero in our community. How does that make you feel when a respected politician, a guy that's been so active in the community like Len Torres, gets up there in his inaugural speech, refers to Scott Bocner as a hero? How does that make you feel?
Well, that's the first I've heard of that, because I wasn't here. Lenny's a good guy, and he been to many press conferences, and he's always wanted to help. His hands has been tied many times, but it does make me feel good. It makes me feel good for the community, and I didn't expect to be man of the year. I didn't expect anything. I just want this thing fixed, and I want it fixed properly. We're all swimming and fishing. It's an unsafe environment. We're lucky enough to have the TDML study that's going on now from Stony Brook, and what that is showing is how poor the water quality is in Reynolds Channel, and what that will do is get us federal funding to correct the problem and fix it. The nitrogen levels are way too high. And believe me, I had no idea about nitrogen or anything about a sewer treatment plant a year and a half ago. I mean, this is just something that was happening, and actually it was in my backyard, and no, it's not happening in my backyard. And it was nice that the Herald did recognize the amount of work it took to get this thing to be fixed. And it's still an ongoing process, and it will be an ongoing process, and we're just going to continue to make sure that with the sludge stoppers, foundation, Operation Splash, the Long Beach Surf Association, surf riders, we're just going to make sure that this thing continues to be on the right track. And the county has said that it was in perfect working order, and obviously we all know that that wasn't true.
Absolutely, and Scott, we want to welcome you to continue being a featured guest on our show and giving us updates on what's going on with the sludge stoppers and what's happening in the environment. And we're doing a show from the Avenue Cafe on January 24th, and Len Torres will be there, and the new city manager, Jack Schnorren, will be there. So I think that would be a great opportunity to get all you guys together, the new administration, to meet the strongest environmentalists. I think that would be great. So we're all here in Long Beach working for the right things.
Yeah, that's not a problem. I'm there if they need me, and I would be happy to meet them. We still have a lot of things to do. We have a lot of things on the table. I have some great ideas for the community as far as getting some new things done. What's nice over the years, over this year, is I was lucky enough to find out about these sewer inserts, and the county had them, 50 of them. They're worth $1,000 a piece, and we were able to get Commissioner Kevin Mulligan to sign off on them. So now they're in Long Beach, and I spoke to the owner of Fabco, the owners of these inserts, and these will be strategically placed into different locations in our sewer grid system. And what this does is it stops plastic bottles and debris from, when it rains, going into Reynolds Channel. And this is a really good thing that we were able to get that. It was very cost effective. Another thing was I was working on some wind issues for a windmill and things like that. I was able to speak to one of the executives at Honeywell, and with Solar Independence, they were looking to spotlight one of these things, and we were able to get it, and it's going to go on top of City Hall, so that will curtail some of the expense for the electricity, maybe even run the whole firehouse. So that's a really good thing that's coming down. I know that the Long Beach Surf Association Environmental Committee, which I'm head of, we're looking to get recycling bins now and corporate sponsorship, so we can get them. It won't cost Long Beach anything. So these recycling bins will be on the boardwalk and on the beach, because they're not there now, and we need to have covers on them, because if you ever noticed, you're walking down onto the beach, the seagulls get in them because they're eating the food and they're pulling the paper out, and the paper's just blowing back into the ocean. So we want to stop that when we're surfing and debris. So we're going to get the proper covers for that. So there's a lot of people and a lot of things that's going on that came from the Sludge Stoppers and Surf Riders and Long Beach Surf Association, that's piggybacking off of all of this spotlighting on this issue. So it's a good thing.
Absolutely. And Scott, before we let you go, I know our friend Tommy Mundy is a big fan of your winter tours, and besides, I know you're so active in the environment, but where you're making money is the tours. So talk about your business and the winter time and how people can have fun with some of the great tours that you run.
Okay, yeah, I am the president of Maximum Tours. It's a ski tour company. We also have a teen travel camp for 10 to 14-year-olds, but I'll focus on the skiing now. Although there is no snow here, they do have pretty good conditions, and they're blowing snow as we speak on almost all the mountains. So if you go to MaximumTours.com, you can see the programs that we have going on. Basically my whole life has been fun, and that's what Maximum Tours is all about. It's located in Oceanside. It's across from Nathan's, a little white building. A lot of you have seen it. If you have a 10 or 14-year-old, we have a teen travel camp. We go someplace different every day, and every other week is an overnight trip. We do a lot of schools and educational trips, things like that. But if you haven't been away, stop staying in your house. Just get out into the outdoors, and there's a lot more to do other than skiing. There's tubing, there's snowboarding, there's zip lining, and there's just a lot to do. So I appreciate the little plug there for
The phone
Maximum
number,
Tours, and the number is 1-800-852-7979. That's 1-800-852-7979. Or just check us out on the web, MaximumTours.com.
Okay, folks, and if you've enjoyed Scott's interview, you can watch this on YouTube. And under YouTube, just go to Halftime Howie Honors Long Beach Person of the Year, Scott Bocner. So on YouTube, the best videographer in Long Island, Walter Searcy, will have it loaded probably an hour after the show's over. Walter just gave me a dirty look, but in a few days, go to YouTube and on our Halftime Howie channel, Halftime Howie Honors Long Beach Person of the Year, Scott Bocner. So let's give a round of applause for Scott Bocner, Person of the Year. Awesome. Coming up, our new feature. If you love music and you're passionate about music, you do not want to miss the Benoit music scene. He'll be talking about the musicians, the bars, what's happening in Long Beach, because we are a passionate music community. Also, Steve Diamond from YA Tittle is here. Walter Searcy's going to be pumping up the Martin Luther King Parade. And Mayo Minch is going to be talking about the upcoming blood drive at City Hall. So a lot more. Keep it locked in. 12:40 a.m. This is Broadcasting on the Beach, coming to you live from the prestigious law offices of Pectic and Schaefer in the wild west end of Long Beach, on Long Island's first and oldest radio station, 12:40 a.m. WGBB.